Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about something really important, and that is imagination. Because imagination is so really important in the big scheme of things. If we don't have our minds where we can imagine things, we're completely limited. Let me give you a quote by Albert Einstein that I thought was fascinating. Albert Einstein said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution." But imagine what it's all about. And let me just say, I became so interested in this concept because I wanted to be able to see in a chart what makes someone have an imagination. Because you can see intelligence, you can see creativity, but how do you see a mind that is completely unlimited with no boundaries? This can breed extreme success in a life. And looking at a couple of charts, I really started to understand what constitutes in a chart the level of imagination. And remember, when I think about imagination, I think about the mind that can expand and go anywhere and not come under limitation. So this does promote so much vastness and richness in a lifetime. So I wanted to find, of course, the two people that I thought, you know, have to have these enormously expansive, unlimited minds. First of all, I thought about Carl Jung, the psychotherapist. I mean, he was man in his dreams, man in his symbols. This is what this man came into being. His level of awareness was way beyond his time. Now, he did study under Freud, but then he broke out and he looked in terms of consciousness awareness. So I find that the moon in a chart constitutes the mind. This is the mind. I wrote a book about moon, mind, and consciousness because the moon is everything. Why do I say it's everything? Because it rules the mind. And the mind really does project what we feel and what we think because it's based on the past. It's based on our level of experience from this lifetime. So you're going to choose, pick music, pick colors, pick everything based on the filter of the mind. What you've experienced in the past makes you feel the way you do now. So that has a lot to do with our mind. Now, Mercury is the other planet that deals with the mind. And Mercury deals specifically with how we process information in our mind, whereas the moon is the mind and awareness. And, you know, the moon, if you consider this, all the planets travel with the sun, right? Pretty much the Venus and Mercury, the planets that are in the interior from Earth, and then the exterior planets are Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. But the planets that travel with the sun, inferior, are going to be Mercury and Venus. So therefore, Mercury has its path with the sun. Even though we gauge it, you will see in a chart, it travels with the sun. But the moon stands apart, and that's the only planet that travels around us. So it is our consciousness, our mind. That's the moon. And it really does reflect everything within us. The moon travels around Earth. I think that's extremely symbolic. But when you put the moon and Mercury together, this will be a mind that is on overdrive. It can't stop processing, thinking. But it's like the mind is going all the time. But the planets that really will make you think outside the box, outside of Your awareness. What is beyond this world? Neptune. Neptune deals with creativity in terms of the imagination, illusions, going outside of ourselves. And the other planet, it's not really a planet, it's the south node of the moon, but we in Vedic astrology, we count the nodes as a planet. But Ketu is what is beyond this world. It is not a part of the materialistic physical world, and it rules our gut knowing, our spirituality, that what is beyond this world. It's kind of what takes us out of this world. So you put Ketu next to the moon or Mercury, you're going to have a mind that is out there, not going to be thinking on physical, material things, basically. Of course, you know that the charts I'm going to show you, they definitely have a sense of materiality, but they are not limited in terms of what they believe they can accomplish and do. And I think that's what I'm trying to prove with the power of imagination. If you can imagine it, you'll know it, you'll believe it, and you create greatness and change within your life. So the first planets that usually are affiliated with each other will be Mercury and the moon. Plus, when you put either Neptune or Ketu there, you're going to get this broad range of power with imagination. Imagination. Now, I want to remind you of something very significant. You know, John Lennon wrote the song Imagine. And I find it so interesting, those of you that weren't around during the reign of the Beatles, you may not know that when he wrote that song, believe it or not, I mean, it's a beautiful song. The lyrics, imagine no religion, imagine no, you know, the limitations that mankind puts on us. They used to say that it was communist, and they were up in arms about the lyrics in that song because he said, imagine no religion, imagine no material ownership of things, imagine a world like that. So, and actually, that was why his killer actually killed him, because he said he was a hypocrite. Here he's imagined a world without no possessions, but here we have such a wealthy man. Aside from all that, here is a man that tries to talk about the beauty and imagine things, and he was put down for that. But this chart, well, first I wanted to show Jeff Bezos. I mean, I've done his chart before, and if you'll look at Jeff Bezos, look at his chart. I just want to show the chart and look up at it. He has Sun, Mercury, and Ketu all together in his 10th house of his work and his career. His mind was on overdrive. He never stopped thinking. And with the Mercury and Moon together, but with Ketu, it's like there's no limitations in where and what he could achieve. In what? His career, because it's in his 10th house. But the next chart I want to show, to me, is, I mean, when you hear about this guy's life, you definitely want to see his chart to see what in the world caused that. And this is the chart I'm going to put up. This demonstrates my whole philosophy here. And it is an individual. He goes by the name 50 Cents. And I think a lot of you know he's a rapper. And but actually, his name was, or is, Curtis Jackson, and better known as 50 Cents. Here's what I think so amazing about him. I'll go ahead, I'm going to put the chart up of his just so you can be eyeballing it while I'm talking. But I have 50 Cents, was born July 6, 1975. We do not have a birth time. But I just wanted you to see the conjunctions explaining the idea of imagination and him not being limited by anything. I mean, he started out 12 years old, was dealing drugs. And, you know, he was constantly in trouble. And that got him to the point where he was shot 9 times and survived. How do you do that? Guess he was meant to be here. And then following that, here's what's amazing. He became a multimillionaire, major, and then lost it all because he was buying, you know, mansions and yachts and planes and buying all these things for other people. I mean, there's only a point where you, no matter how much money, you can't buy that many things. But he did. He's probably, you know, didn't have any limitations. So the other aspect is he lost everything. And then he claimed bankruptcy, but he had to go to court. They let him off somehow. He didn't have to pay. He was able to claim bankruptcy. And guess what? After that, he made billions. Multi-millionaire, lost it all, became a billionaire. Guess what? He lost it all again. 3 times. He made it back again for the 3rd time, but now he's bankrupt again. Wouldn't you want to see this person's chart? First, he's a drug dealer. Then he becomes a major rapper during the time, singing about all of his issues and problems. Well, here's what I found about imagination. Notice his chart. Up there, the only thing I want you to notice is the fact that he has the moon conjunct Mercury in Taurus. Moon is exalted in Taurus, by the way, and it's with Ketu. Now, remember the other variable that I said that's important is that Ketu and Neptune are the same in terms of expanding imagination. And if you look at his chart, he has Neptune tightly opposed the moon, Mercury, Ketu. And my point is that this is an individual that never, ever let limitations get him down. He has this great mind and great imagination. So that was so just a few other charts I want to point out. I'm not going to show their charts. I'm just going to, we'll look at them at a later date because they're very interesting. But people that have Neptune, and this is where I was going with Carl Jung, that people that have Neptune conjunct the moon are very intuitive, very psychic. They think outside the box. And their imagination is incredible and psychic ability. Who has Neptune conjunct the moon? Carl Jung and Edgar Cayce, the great sleeping prophet that I speak about in many of my videos. So I just want you to look at the moon. Is it conjunct Ketu? Is it conjunct Mercury? Is it conjunct or aspected by Neptune? Conjunctions or oppositions work just as well. So notice that tie-up between those planets. Remember, the moon is the mind. Mercury is how we process information. Ketu and Neptune are beyond this world. And it creates the most powerful commodity a mind can possibly have: imagination. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me, you can always go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Or if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.